Hello. So, this is my first attempt at a YouTube video, and as you can see I am filming in front of white doors because I really wanted to have a nice background, just a nice clean background like all the YouTubers I see, but the house is made of wood. So here we are in front of the only white doors. So I thought for my first YouTube video I should talk about something that I have a great passion about, just to set the tone, you know. So today I will be talking about all the reasons that I love Carry On. So number one is that it's not your classic story. One thing that I really love about it is that it plays on tropes. Rainbow Rowell doesn't just dump all the tropes in there and just make it like any other story. No, she plays on it. So it's the chosen one, but it's not the chosen one. It's a magic school full of magic people, but they still have to stay in touch with the normal world because the magic isn't like the magic we have in other books and other stories, which I love. So it's a kind of magic where they have to stay in touch with other kinds of people in society, otherwise they will lose their power, essentially. And I think that's a really great creative idea, and it just sets Carry On apart a bit. Yeah, there's a lot of different tropes in Carry On, or things you've seen, for example in Harry Potter, and it really annoys me when people say Carry On is just like Harry Potter, because it's not. Maybe at the start, yeah, it seems a bit like that, but then you read it and you're like, oh no, there are actually a lot of differences, and Carry On is really unique. So yeah, there's a lot of tropes, but it's not just boring, normal tropes. Rainbow Rowell uses them to create an effective and interesting story, and that is the first thing that I love about Carry On. So the second thing that I love about Carry On is obviously the romance. I mean, who doesn't read Carry On and ship Simon and Baz? Well, my boyfriend, but we won't talk about that today. For what I've seen, pretty much everyone who reads Carry On does love Simon and Baz. I mean, it's so great. Such a great couple. They're like my favourite in all of fiction. There is literally no other couple I've read as much fan fiction about that I have thought as much about as Simon and Baz. And it's so exciting that we get to see the more developed part of their romantic relationship in Wayward Son. I'm so interested to see what happens. But yeah, Simon and Baz, you know, it's the enemies to lovers, the enemies to friends to lovers. I don't know, it's interesting, but I just love their dynamic and how in love Baz is with Simon. It's so tragic and beautiful, and then they get together and it's just so satisfying and just so great. And I just love the way it develops. The third thing is that I love the way that the characters in the end get to sort of diverge from what is expected from them and choose their own way in life. Now my favourite example of this is Agatha, because in other magic books and other magic stories, you don't really see characters who don't like the fact that they have magic, who want to leave the magical world. That's what we get in Agatha, and it's really interesting and something I'd never considered before. Like, maybe you won't want to be magic, maybe it's not all it's cracked out to be. So Agatha feels so much pressure to just be the perfect daughter, to be the perfect friend, to be the perfect mage. She just feels she needs to fit in the magical world, but it's really not for her. So in the end she takes that feeling and she runs with it all the way to California. She does what she wants to do with her own life, and that is so powerful. I love that about her. Thank you, Rainbow Rowell. And it's not just Agatha, it's obviously the other characters like Baz diverges from what is expected of him. Simon, obviously, that's a big plot twist. And yeah, that's something really refreshing. That's great to see. The fourth thing I love about Carry On is Rainbow Rowell's writing style. Now, the first book I read by Rainbow was Fangirl, and I was about, I don't know, 12, 13. I really loved it, and it was just one of those books where I could really get into it and get through it quick, because I am not a fast reader. I do not like to skim. I like to read every word and appreciate every sentence, okay? So it sort of takes me a lot of time usually to get through books. But Fangirl, I was just so interested in it that I got through it fairly quickly and I just loved it. So then a couple of years later, when I saw that Carry On was coming out and that it was sort of a spin-off from Fangirl, that was exciting. And so I used my Christmas money from Grandpa to go and get it from the warehouse. So thank you, Grandpa, that was a great purchase. And I got this beautiful little copy which I've now annotated a lot and is very well loved and has been lent to a lot of people. So the edges are a bit curved now because they've been worn down. I love it. So good. And yeah, I just started reading that straight away, and then Carry On was one of the books that I've read the fastest, and like, it's over 500 pages. That's pretty good for me, to be honest. So I read it within a couple of days, maybe. It was definitely under a week. And it was the summer holiday, so we were away camping. I was just like hiding out in my tent a lot of the time, just staying up past midnight reading Carry On because it was so good and I was so hooked. And you know what, I put that down to Rainbow's writing style. Because often I feel that fantasy is a bit kind of hard to get through, like you're wading through description or world building or all of that. But Rainbow's writing style is more contemporary, it's more light, it's more fun, but it's still descriptive and interesting. So that just made Carry On a lot easier to get through. Like, it feels like a fantasy written in contemporary style, and that's great. Carry On is that it is addictive, like I just talked about. It did not take me too long to get through it, and that was because the writing style and the plot was really interesting. We had a few different things going on, and you sort of had a few loose threads that you're wondering how they were going to tie up in the end, so I had to keep reading to find out. It was good. We had a romance, we had a ghost story, a mystery, the whole chosen one humdrum prophecy thing. There was a lot to keep me interested, so that was great, and I think it all really ties together in a good, satisfying, and interesting way. Number 6. So, another thing to love about Carry On is that it is written in multiple points of view, but it doesn't suck. Now, I feel that a lot of books that are written in multiple points of view, they don't really need to be. It's kind of just wading through some unnecessary characters, description and narration when the more interesting stuff is happening somewhere else, you know? But in Carry On, I feel like all the characters who get to narrate really add something to the story, and it's good to read their narration. I love that, like jumping between Simon and Bez and Penny and Agatha and the Mage and Lucy. Like, they add to the story. It makes it full. So it was actually a good use of multiple point of view. So thank you again, Rainbow Rowell. Good job. Number 7 is that the characters aren't just flat. They are complex. They have flaws, they have good points, and some of them, it's really hard to decide whether they're good or bad. Like, I know everyone seems to hate on the Mage, but I mean, I don't like him either. He did a lot of bad things for Simon. He wasn't a good father. No, just no. But, gotta admit, he did kind of have a good idea. And I started reconsidering this because I lent Carry On to my boyfriend to read, and then he had all the opposite opinions of me. And it kind of reminded me that the characters really are complex. So you do get to sort of form your own opinion of them, get a whole feeling of them, and people have different opinions. I mean, I know the Carry On fandom seems to have a lot of the same opinions, but the characters are complex enough to sort of be interested in so much as we are, and to have different opinions of them, and that's great. Love that in a book. Number 8. I love that there are a lot of quotable lines and jokes. For example, I love that bit in sort of the first 150 pages, which could be a bit boring at times, we all know that, but it really picks up after that, and they're quite good when you go back and read over them. So no hate for the first 150 pages. But, oh, and Rainbow did actually say herself that the first 150 were not the most gripping, but they were necessary, you know? And one of the bits I really love in those first chapters is when Simon is reflecting on how he didn't used to believe in portents, and then Penny said that not believing in portents was not like not believing in beans on toast. Just, good point, Penny, good joke. Just Rainbow Rowell's writing style is so fun. She has so many good jokes, and I really appreciate that in a book. And there are so many good lines that you just go, every time you come back to them. Number 9. The last thing on my list that I love about Carry On, because for some reason I didn't happen to make a list of 10, I made a list of 9, which is a little bit unsatisfying, but we'll deal with it. So the last thing on the list is the comfort factor of Carry On. So I've read Carry On so many times that I can't count, but at least 5. We'll say 6, shall we? And one of the reasons I keep coming back to it, apart from I love it so much, is that it can be really comforting, you know, just you feel like you get to know the characters and you just get absorbed in the story and the world and their lives and their feelings, and it's just nice and comforting and just something to come back to when you want to read something you love, when you want to feel good, when you want to escape. It's just really great for that, I feel. And of course, there is the thing that you can also identify with some of the characters, with what they're going through, with what they're feeling, and it's just really nice. So yeah, that is a list of 9 things that make me love Carry On, and I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope you love Carry On too, and you enjoyed seeing someone else's opinion of it. And of course I'm very excited for Wayward Son. That's another reason I thought I'd make a Carry On video now, because it's kind of in the build up to it, and I wanted to reflect on what's so great about Carry On and the Simon Snow series. Thank you if anyone watched, and if you want to see more, subscribe, I guess, and I'm sure I'll upload something else soon. Something like another review, maybe a bit of a rant, maybe a bit of a lifestyle video. I don't know, we'll see. But if you want to see a random New Zealander talking about some stuff, then come back next time. Alright, bye.